wanted to tag up on what I've been talking about recently about pandemic proofing your business. One of the things I find funny, and I did talk about this in episode 450, but one of the things that I find funny is that like people think that there's the recessions and those sorts of things are going to end. They sort of tie it to politicians or political parties or whatever. But if you go back through the history of just the United States, and probably find this similar in other countries, if you go back through the history of the United States, you can go all the way back to the start of the country and find that every roughly 10 years, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, but roughly every 10 years, there's some sort of recession. There's some sort of downturn in the economy that causes some people to struggle, other people benefit from, and it just happens over and over and over and over. And you sort of hear all of this nonsense, on TV and from politicians and media heads and all that sort of stuff about how it's this party's fault or that party's fault or this politician's going to fix it. This party has the right plan, and it just sort of goes on and on and on and on and on. And there are actually people out there that believe that believe, oh, this politician's going to fix it, or this party's going to fix it, or this plan is going to fix it, or whatever it is. And the reality is that we've been at this for 250 years and it hasn't happened. So, maybe one day a unicorn will show up. Maybe one day there'll be that politician or that party that'll show up and have all of the answers, but it's not very likely. And so when you really start to look at the reality of it, you have to recognize that at some point there's going to be another recession. Probably soon. In fact, there's going to be multiple recessions and downturns within your lifetime. They can be caused by anything, right? It could be a pandemic. It could be the stock market. It could be the internet. It could be oil. There's been all sorts of reasons why these things happen, but they happen over and over and over and over. And the way that I look at it is, I'm 40 years old. So let's say I live to be 80 years old. I'm going to see another 3 to 4 at a minimum recessions like the one we just went through in my lifetime. So why would I not prepare for that? Why would I not be ready knowing that it's going to happen, knowing that it's coming at me no matter what I do? And I think really the key is not just preparing for it so that you survive or positioning for it so that you survive, but positioning so that you can actually take advantage of it, not in a nefarious way, but that you can actually benefit through it. Because even this last pandemic, as devastating as it was, as many businesses had to close down or went out of business, etc., there were still companies that benefited. There were still people that benefited. Just to give you a really quick example, I was actually finally prepared this time, had got my stuff together, was paying attention, and actually took the plunge on it this time. And when the pandemic hit and the stock market tanked, I bought several stocks that I was confident were going to go back up after it was all over. I bought several stocks that when they were at a really low point. And now those stocks have gone up probably double, triple what I bought them at. And there's still room for them to go back up. So that's just a simple example of how if you're paying attention, you know it's coming, you're positioned properly, you can actually benefit through these things. And what smart, wealthy people actually do is they benefit not just from the upkick, but also from the downturn. And so there's this constant boom and bust cycle that happens with the economy. It's always going to happen. And so you're fooling yourself if you think that, oh, this recession is going to be over and everything will be fine. It's just going to happen again. It's going to be for another reason. It's going to affect different industries. And it's going to go on and on and on and on. So why not be prepared for it? Why not start to position yourself properly for it? Anyway, that was sort of the thrust of the recent episode that I did of the podcast, episode 450. If you'd like to check that out, it's all about pandemic proofing your life and business. You can head over to YouTube. You can get it on Google Podcasts. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's on SoundCloud, etc. And you can check out that full podcast. So anyway, take that for what it's worth. Again, I think the thing to do is just pay attention, get yourself positioned properly. There's a lot of tips that I lay out on the episode for how to do that, and just recognize the reality that it's coming at one point or another. So let's quit pretending that this politician or that party is gonna get rid of the recessions and everything will be great again and this will never happen again. It's just not reality. And you'll be a lot better off if you accept the reality and make the moves that you need to make to be ready for the next one. All right, that's it. We'll talk to you next time.